Welcome to Friendship Friday. My name is Mark Long, rector of the parish of St Andrew in Newlands, Cape Town. What has been the theme of your week? Now, that may not be a question that you were asking, but I think that it's helpful to become aware of the journey that we've been on over a period of time, and to recognize that somehow, often in a week's space, there are things that keep popping up. And as one looks back, begins to see that they're part of a theme. These things may be, and are often for me in terms of my reading, a lot happens up in my head, but they may be relational. It may also be experiential. People that you've interacted with, conversations that you've had, things that have happened. And the key is then to be exploring, where is God in all of this, and what is God saying to us? And important question to be reflecting on. After my Sunday sermon, I was introduced to a wonderful book by Elif Shafak on Sufi mysticism. And in fact, that book took over my day off on Monday. I got rather immersed in it. So I had that book. I've also, one of Richard Rohr's daily meditations or emails that come out. He's also spoken about the importance of holding paradox. Finding a way to hold those things that often seem irreconcilable, finding a way to actually hold them together and find meaning in that. I've also read one or two articles of Graham Codrington's in the more business field. And it's just been interesting to see how these things all link up and to begin asking questions around what may God be saying. The challenge of mysticism, be it Sufi mysticism, which is based in the Muslim faiths, or be it the kind of thinking that Richard Rohr throws at us, it all encourages us to see things from a bigger picture. I was reminded of my story, our story, the story, and it just, that particular image made sense of a lot of what both Richard Rohr was trying to say and what I was introduced to in terms of Sufi mysticism. And even some of the things that Graham Codrington has been saying. And for me, when I get involved in my story, it's quite limited. It's very subjective. Space in which I'm often hugely reactive. My selfishness, my brokenness shows itself. Equally, when we begin to talk about our story as human beings, and it could be ours as anything from family to community to nation to global environment. Our story too is often the themes within that reflect the brokenness of our human nature, and the selfishness and the divisions and the conflicts that arise in that space. And so Richard Rohr, Sufi mysticism, Christian mysticism, all asks us to actually embrace the bigger picture. And that reminds me of the recent visit of the two cosmonauts to the International Space Station. And one article I was reading has a photograph that he's taken, that the one astronaut has taken looking back down on Earth. And I understand that can be quite a life-changing experience to see the Earth from that perspective, because you suddenly realize how small the Earth is, and of course how infinitesimal you and I are in the context of the cosmos. We used to speak of the universe, perhaps multiverse is a better term, and even multi perhaps is too small a word to reflect everything that is out there. But when we begin to look at life from the story, from the bigger picture, it enables, and certainly from a faith perspective and a mystical perspective, it enables us to love. It enables compassion. It enables care on some very deep levels, because it helps us to be somewhat more objective. It helps us to actually see the themes of our life and the themes of my life within that much bigger picture. And somehow it's within that space that one really is able to grow and find ways of relating better together. And so I really would encourage you to look back and ask, what are the themes, what has been the theme of this week for you? And has it somehow drawn you into the bigger, the story? Or are you finding yourself still very limited to your own story? Or even caught up in social media, normal media, and caught up in the difficulties of community and national life. And if you find yourself in your story or our story, and you find yourself really struggling with so much of what that throws at us, I really encourage you to find a way to get into the story and to discover something of the greatness of God in that, and the greatness of all that we ourselves can be, created in God's image, as we seek to live lives that really do reflect the goodness and the love of God in deep and meaningful ways in our experience, in our relationships, and in our thinking.